Have you ever wondered how the magic of movies has evolved over time? Think about it. From the humble beginnings of silent black and white films to the dazzling spectacle of today's blockbusters, the movie industry has come a long way. It's a tale of innovation and creativity, of visionaries pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's a story that's as exciting and dramatic as any film you'll see on the big screen. Stay tuned as we explore this captivating journey of cinematic evolution. Imagine a world where movies had no sound, just visuals. Hard to picture, isn't it? Yet, this was the reality of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a time we now refer to as the silent era of cinema. This period, spanning from the late 1800s to the roaring 20s, was marked by the absence of spoken dialogue. Instead, filmmakers relied heavily on visual storytelling, using exaggerated expressions, gestures, and title cards to convey the plot and emotions. The silent era was a time of pioneers and innovators, pushing the boundaries of what was possible with the technology at hand. Thomas Edison's kinetoscope and the Lumiere brothers' cinematography were among the first devices to project moving images, creating a spectacle that captured the public's imagination. These early films were often short, simple scenes, like workers leaving a factory or a train arriving at a station. But as filmmakers grew more ambitious, they began to experiment with narrative storytelling, creating longer, more complex films. A significant figure of this era was D.W. Griffith, whose groundbreaking film, The Birth of a Nation, introduced many techniques still used today, such as cross-cutting and close-ups. Despite its controversial content, the film's success proved that cinema could be more than a novelty. It could tell powerful emotional stories. Yet despite these advancements, silent films were not without their limitations. With no spoken dialogue, the story had to be conveyed through visual cues and title cards, requiring the audience to engage more actively with the film. This reliance on visuals also meant that filmmakers had to be innovative with their camera work and editing techniques, laying the groundwork for the cinematic language we know today. The silent era was a time of innovation and experimentation. It was a time when the limitations of the medium forced filmmakers to be creative, to find new ways to tell stories and engage audiences. It was a time that laid the groundwork for what was to come next in the world of cinema. And as we move forward through the history of cinema, remember, every film you watch today, every cinematic masterpiece you marvel at, owes a debt to these early pioneers. After all, the silent era laid the groundwork for what was to come next in the world of cinema. Then came the era that gave movies a voice. The 1920s, a decade of change and innovation, marked a pivotal moment in the history of cinema. The birth of talkies, films with synchronized sound, ushered in a brand new age. Now, the characters on the silver screen were not just seen, they were heard. The silent gestures and exaggerated expressions of the silent era were replaced with dialogue and sounds, adding a new layer of realism and depth to the cinematic experience. This leap in technology was not without its challenges. Transitioning from silent films to talkies was a complex process that required substantial changes in production techniques. Studios had to invest heavily in sound equipment, and directors had to rethink their storytelling methods. Actors too had to adapt. Some thrived in this new environment, their voices adding to their on-screen charisma. Others, whose voice did not match their screen persona, found their careers in jeopardy. The first talkie, The Jazz Singer, released in 1927, was a groundbreaking achievement. The film's blend of spoken dialogue and music not only captivated audiences, but also set a new standard for what cinema could be. It was a risky venture that paid off handsomely, signaling to the industry that talkies were not just a passing fad, but the future of cinema. This seismic shift in the industry had a profound impact on the way movies were perceived. Talkies brought films closer to reality, making the movie-going experience more immersive and engaging. They also expanded the creative potential of cinema, allowing filmmakers to explore new genres and narrative techniques. The advent of sound also had far-reaching cultural implications. It broke down language barriers, making it possible for films to reach a global audience. It also gave rise to the golden age of musicals, a genre that continues to delight audiences to this day. The advent of sound was a game-changer, but the evolution of cinema was far from over. The journey of cinema, like any art form, is marked by innovation and transformation, and the sound revolution was just one chapter in this fascinating story. From black and white to a world full of color. The advent of Technicolor in the mid-30s was indeed a renaissance in the realm of cinema. Like a painter with a fresh palette, filmmakers found themselves with a whole new spectrum of storytelling. It was no longer about the play of shadows and lights. The screen was now a canvas, waiting to be painted with the vibrancy of life. Imagine the first time audiences saw Dorothy step into the land of Oz, the transition from sepia-toned Kansas to the vibrant Technicolor world. It was not just about making things look pretty. Color became a narrative device, a way to emphasize emotions, themes, and even character arcs. Take, for instance, the iconic film Gone with the Wind. The burning of Atlanta scene with its fiery reds and oranges was not just visually striking, but it also symbolized the end of an era, the destruction of the Old South. The color amplified the emotional intensity of the scene, making it unforgettable. In the same vein, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo used color to represent the protagonist's mental state. The green-toned scenes reflected his obsession, while the reds indicated danger. Color became an invisible character, subtly influencing the narrative. The shift to color was not without its challenges. It was expensive, time-consuming, and required a new understanding of lighting and set design. But the filmmakers of the era were undeterred. They embraced this new medium, and in doing so, transformed the way we experience films. Technicolor was more than just a technological advancement. It was a revolution that forever changed the language of cinema. It allowed filmmakers to explore new artistic expressions, to tell stories in a way that was more immersive, more dynamic, and more emotionally resonant. With color, cinema started to feel more real, but the quest for realism didn't stop there. Despite the strides made, filmmakers never stopped pushing the boundaries. They continued to explore, innovate, and create. And so, the journey of cinema, like a reel of film, unspools into the future, ever vibrant, ever evolving. Fast forward to the digital age, where technology has taken the reins. The film reel, once the heart of every cinema projector, has now given way to the pixel, the building block of digital cinema. The rise of digital filmmaking in the late 20th and early 21st century has been transformative, to say the least. This transformation started with the camera itself. The bulky, film-consuming cameras of old were replaced with sleek digital ones, capable of capturing images with stunning clarity and detail. These digital cameras offered filmmakers a flexibility that was unheard of in the era of film reels. Scenes could be shot and reshoot at the touch of a button without wasting precious film. But the change didn't stop at the camera. The entire process of making movies was revolutionized. Editing, once a painstaking manual process, became a matter of drag and drop. Special effects, once limited to the skill of the prop master, could now be created and manipulated in a computer. Even sound design and music composition were transformed by digital technology. And then came the rise of streaming platforms. The way we consume movies was altered forever. The movie theater, once the only place to watch the latest flick, now competes with the convenience of watching from the comfort of our own homes. This shift has not only transformed the viewer's experience, but also opened up new avenues for filmmakers. With barriers to entry significantly lower, more diverse voices are being heard in cinema than ever before. But it's not just the way movies are made and watched that has changed. The very concept of what a movie is has expanded. Today, a movie could be a 2-hour epic, a 15-minute short, or even a 6-second vine. The boundaries have blurred and continue to blur. The digital age has opened up endless possibilities, making the future of cinema exciting and unpredictable. We stand on the cusp of a new frontier in filmmaking, one that promises to continue challenging and changing our understanding of what cinema can be. From silent films to talkies, black and white to color, and analog to digital, the world of cinema has been an ever-evolving landscape. As we've journeyed through the history of film, we've witnessed the birth of cinema, a time when moving images were novel and exciting, a spectacle to behold. We've followed the sound revolution, a seismic shift in the movie industry that brought voices and music into the silent world of film, forever changing the way we experience movies. This transition from silence to sound was a leap into a new era, an era where dialogue and soundtracks became integral parts of storytelling. Then we stepped into the world of color, where the screen was painted with a palette of hues, making the cinematic experience more vibrant, lifelike, and immersive. It was a shift from monochrome to a kaleidoscope of colors, opening up a new dimension of storytelling. Finally, we arrived at the new frontier, a realm where digital technology has redefined the boundaries of filmmaking, leading to the creation of stunning visual effects and realistic animations that were once thought impossible. The evolution of cinema is a story of creativity, innovation, and resilience, and it's a story that's still being written. As we look to the future, we can only imagine the new horizons that cinema will explore, the new stories it will tell, and the new ways it will captivate audiences around the globe.